Welcome to the Progression Health Podcast. I'm here with runner Paddy O Leary. Paddy, do you want to introduce yourself to the listeners?
Cool. How's it going? I'm Paddy O Leary, originally from Ireland. Moved over here in 2013 to San Francisco for my job as a biologist at the university here. When I came over here, I found myself getting into trail running and ultra running. So now I'd say I'm a professional ultra runner with the North Face and Hydro Pack, scientist, community builder in running and sport here in San Francisco.
Wow. Was that the plan, Paddy, when you came over to be a professional runner?
No. When I came over here, actually, my sport was lacrosse. So the Native American game, which is very popular in North America, actually played and helped set up the Irish lacrosse organization back in 2005. We were the first batch of Irish-born people to start playing it in something like 100 years. Played for 8 years on the Irish lacrosse team. Played in a couple of world championships. When I was finishing up my graduate degree, my PhD degree in UCD, University College Dublin, back in Dublin, I just had that craving to explore something else. So I decided to move to the US. And one of the main reasons I wanted to move to the US was to play a better level of lacrosse. So I played for another 2 years once I moved here in 2013. But then I found my way into a running group called the November Project and started realizing I was handy enough at the running and really enjoyed the trail running, especially here in San Francisco and around the Bay Area. The trail running is prime and community is strong. The community kind of dragged me into trail running as a sport, and then got on the right trajectory and ended up getting a successful elite professional career there.
Wow. So yeah. Something I think of myself, and I'd assume this is pretty common among other runners, is like as an adult, it's common to get into running or really kind of ratchet it up. That's my kind of story with running. But I would have said to myself, oh, sure, I wasn't a junior athlete like doing track and field, so my potential is limited. Do you see that with runners? Did you have a background with running before the lacrosse?
Yeah, so when I was my dad was big into running. He helped set up a running club back in Bree in County Wexford in Ireland. He was a gun starter at a lot of the races, track and field and cross country races all over Ireland. So I did it a little bit when I was a teenager. It was never my first thing. I love team sports. Hurling and Gaelic football were kind of ahead of that. I wasn't very good at them, but I preferred playing them. So I did lots of sports. I did horse riding growing up. I did a bit of running. I did hurling. I did football. Did all of that. I was never any good. And then when I started playing lacrosse, I started getting faster. And I think I only kind of matured as an athlete in my late teens, early 20s. So then when I came back to running, I think I was just a better prepared athlete. I knew how to run better and I was maybe able to suffer a bit better. And I kind of realized what my skills were when I was a teenager. And I kind of preferred this, and that like I was never super into sport. I just enjoyed playing sport. I was never competitive, never super competitive or anything like that. And then into running, especially in trail running, we see people who are coming from a track background. We see people who are coming from like their competitive high school, college, D1 careers. Then we see people come from different sports. Lacrosse is my background. Another famous trail runner here in the Bay Area, Dylan Bowman, played lacrosse in high school and college. We had Drew Holman, who was one of the best ultra runners in the US, used to live here in San Francisco. He came from an ice hockey in high school, ultimate frisbee background in college, and he found his way into trail running in his mid-20s. We see a lot of these really strong athletes who are coming in completely different sports.
That's like what they say about pro athletes in their teens, that they should be like dual sport. It's not actually a good idea to isolate yourself into one. So yeah, that's very like uplifting to think that you can. The main thing is you're active. You don't have to be a junior track and field star.
Yeah, I coached lacrosse when I came over here for a number of yeyears, and we were really pushing the kids. Like a lot of the kids and a lot of the families were worrying about, we want our kid to get a lacrosse scholarship, preparing for this 4 or 5 years away from the child hitting their high school graduation. And we were encouraging the kids to do many sports. I'm involved in the Dipsy race here in Marin. That race has people as young as like 10 years old competing in it. Where whenever we talk to any of those kids, and it's uplifting to hear, many of those kids are just doing all the sports they can, because focusing too early on one sport it's not healthy. It's not healthy for the kids' bodies. It's not healthy for the mind. It's not healthy for their career, in my opinion. I mean, that's from my own experience. I loved playing multiple sports. Even when I started my pro trail running career, I was still playing touch rugby. I was still playing lacrosse. I was running. I was going rock climbing. I was doing all of these different things. And I loved it. And I was in my mid-20s. As my body's got older, I've been less able to balance all of these different sports, especially the contact ones. So the last 4 or 5 years, that's eased off. I'm now predominantly just a runner.
Right. So yeah, the mix really, it does make you a better, well-rounded athlete, which is something, I was just talking to someone recently about that. There's something to be said for just doing like more activity is better, so that you don't kind of get overuse injuries, which I hear are common with running. Yeah. You mentioned the November Project. What is that? And can you talk a little bit about group running as well?
Yeah. So the November Project was a group. It started back in Boston in 2011, where these two guys, Boy Mandrick and Brogan Graham, they were fed up of the typical everyone going into gyms in the really cold winter in Boston, everyone going into the gyms, working out indoors, not interacting. So they said, hey, let's just agree to go running outdoors every day for the month of November. They had their Google Doc. They called it the November Project. They really enjoyed it because it was keeping each other accountable, getting each other outdoors, using the city as your gym, using the parks as your playground in your gym. When it got to the end of the month, they were like, oh, this was super fun. Let's keep this going. So they started saying, all right, because every Wednesday they'd been running the Harvard Stadium stairs, which is a workout they used to do when they were rowing in college. They started posting on Twitter about it. And they were like, hey, come join us for Wednesday. Free workout, free fitness, community, come join. People started filtering into it. It grew from the two of them to 10, to 20, to 100, to several hundred. Then people started moving to other cities and they're like, oh, I missed having that group. They kept each other accountable, kept each other having fun, exercising outdoors. So then it just grew. They set up a group in San Francisco in 2013. And a few weeks after I moved here, I joined this group. And that was like my push back into running. And it was my introduction to the community here in San Francisco. And then over the last decade, that spread to 50 other cities. Other groups similar to that got set up. Here we have Midnight Runners, which is an evening running group in San Francisco, which seems to be quite strong. Many running stores in San Francisco have these running groups. I actively run with the San Francisco Running Company store a lot. Runner's Mind do. There's all these. I was even looking at an Instagram post this morning. Someone was sharing like all of the different running groups they meet on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday across the Bay Area. Each day there's 10 different free running groups for people of all different fitnesses to come out and join. It's something that it has been really expanding over the last 10 years. November Project was one of the earliest ones, and I really appreciated being involved in that because it kind of got me into the sport, but also gave me leadership experience in the sport and gave me a love of wanting to get more people involved in our sport. I think I had the same thing with lacrosse, and that I was involved in kind of setting up new clubs back in Dublin or in Ireland and setting up the Irish Lacrosse League, and I really enjoyed getting people into sport. That was something that was really channeled in me from my parents. They were heavily involved in community games, which is a sporting organisation back that you may know back in Ireland. So I really learned from them to encourage people into sport and activities, especially youths, to just give them a more active, rounded life.
Yeah, so it's only natural for you to pass on what was taught to you, which is great. So
exactly.
Yeah, I get a lot of it's like just motivation, like encouragement, helping others, running in a group. Do you do, as a pro runner, do you run with a group? Do you do a lot of solo running? And let's just say somebody is like struggling with motivation for running. What would you say to someone, they're a bit apprehensive about like working out with a group because they might think they're slow or they're just not up to par?
Yeah. So I do a bit of everything. I do a lot of solo running just because of time, trying to balance it with work, trying to balance it with training, with life, with family. So I kind of probably do about half of my runs would be solo runs and half of my runs would be group runs. With our San Francisco Running Company, we always have a run up Mount Tam on a Wednesday, and that's always welcome for anyone to come join. On Saturday, we often go to do group runs, especially when you're going running on trails. It's often funner and more adventurous to do with a group of people. The openness and the welcome and people feeling comfortable and welcome to come join a group is a very important thing. I think in November Project, we really try to strive to encourage people of all abilities to come out and join. So we don't always design our workouts where like if you did 1 lap of a hill or you did 10 laps of a hill in an hour, you were still doing it together. That's something I think we struggled with in the trail running community for a while. Say for our Wednesday morning TAM runs, people used to all start at the same time, and the fastest people would get to the top and they'd wait around for a few minutes, but they'd get cold and then they'd bop off the top and everyone else wouldn't be able to get up there with them. So no one was really spending time together. One thing we changed in the last 2 years with that Wednesday morning run group, and it kind of has really opened it up to people of all different abilities, was we did like a staggered start. So everyone was aiming to get to the top of the mountain at the same time. So like you'd have a group leaving at, this is very early, 5:40 in the morning. And they were going to take like an hour plus to get up. A group would leave at 5:50. A group would leave at 6. If someone was going really hard, they would leave at 6:10. And everyone would get up there to the top at the same time and be able to witness the sunrise, able to take a big group together, and then everyone would run down together. Redesigning a group to really have those opportunities where you can actually normalize people on their ability and on what they can do on that day. I think is really important, and it's really useful for bringing people together and for making it less intimidating for people to come join a group.
That's a very clever solution for tricky problem. To see to get to socialize and to see the sunrise is like huge. That's the simple things. So have you always been a distance runner? Did you ever do shorter distances? And with the trail running, then what is it about trail running you love so much?
When I was very young, when I was in my teenage years, I was just doing everything because my dad would be starting the races all day at a track and field event, so I would just jump into everything and I would come almost last in most of the things. I wasn't very good as a teenager. When I got into my later years, when I started trail running, I kind of do everything. Like trail running, people often think it's just one sport, but like the discipline ranges from someone doing a 2-mile trail race up to a 250-mile trail race. There's a very big spread and a very big variety of athletes who are successful at different parts of it. I definitely still consider myself a bit of a jack of all trades with my trail running. I'll do flat trail races, I'll do some road races, I'll do some very steep or mountainous stuff, and I'll do everything from short races that are only 2 or 3 miles up to 100-mile races. Yeah, I kind of find myself jumping into everything because it keeps me interested. Like I kind of enjoy the variety. That's how I often approach life as well, and that I like balancing between many different passions. I think that's what gives me fire, much potentially to the detriment of my success in trail running, in my scientific career, in different things, by the fact of like doing a little bit of everything. But I think it improves me as a person and improves my just how I enjoy what I do. Yeah, you were talking about balance. I can't remember what your second question was.
The trail running. Why? I saw that you're actually very good at road racing. You're actually really good at road racing, even though you're a trail runner, which is like, it's very impressive.
I should have been, honestly, like, I think I enjoy training for mountain running and trail running a hell of a lot more than road running. However, I think I'm arguably more successful at road running. So I think I'm a road runner stuck in a trail runner's mindset. I am content with that. Like, probably my most successful, honestly, some 2 or 3 of my most successful running results have been in 2018. I won this Martinez cross country race, a 4-mile cross country race, which was against all of the best cross country, post-collegiate cross country runners in California. And I won that race in Martinez running like 4:45 pace for 4 miles and beat a lot of semi-professional cross country runners. Beta Breakers last year, second place at that. And then I guess my marathon PR from 2018, where I was training for the North Face 50 miler, which is a trail race in Marin. I was training for that, but then it got cancelled because of fires, because of the smoke. So I was like, oh, of all this fitness, of the fitness from the cross country, I'm like, best shape of my life. What do I do? So I just jumped into CIM and ran like a 2:20 on that, just like a minute out of the Olympic standard at the time. And at that time, I'd actually considered, I was like, okay, maybe I should follow road running. So I was considering taking 2019 to be my road running year. However, in January 2019, the IOC released a new Olympic standard where they cut it from 2:18, 2:19 to 2:11. And I'm like, well, I would have to leave my job. I would have to concentrate on road running full time. It would break my soul to do that. So I said, like, I could, if I pursued road running, marathon running, I could be like a very good maybe B-list marathon runner, where like you go to these events and you're still coming like 40, 20, 30, 40, 50th at the Boston Marathon or at CIM or whatever. Or I can keep at mountain running, where I can get to travel to all these far-flung corners of the world and see these beautiful places and experience these beautiful communities and be successful at it and really enjoy it and take so much from it. Just the ability to explore through trail running is unparalleled, I feel. And when I go to a city, I can go running around the city as well. I feel like running is an exploration for me. It's kind of an exploratory platform for me. And I love being able to either run around a city or run around a mountain and just to explore what's out there. I think actually circling back here to San Francisco, running in San Francisco, I am absolutely obsessed with. Some of my favorite things are bringing friends who are visiting the city on my little running tour of San Francisco. We're going, seeing Sutro Hill, seeing Twin Peaks, seeing Glen Canyon, seeing Laguna Honda, Golden Gate Park, the ocean, and the Presidio. We have so much in this 7x7. You'd spend the rest of your life exploring the little corners of it on your feet.
You really would, yeah. I'm laughing at the thought of you, the former lacrosse player, beating everyone in the cross-country race, just like nipping ahead of them. And it's a testament to what you said about like, you don't necessarily have to be the track and field star once you're playing some sport and you're just really committing to it. Yeah, that's a great one. And maybe you can be a master's road runner and try and break some of the records. Yeah. You know, if you ever want to get back to it.
Well, I think you can still do it. Like I go in and do road racing, but as a mountain runner and a trail runner, my predominant I still do a lot of speed work. I will do two speed sessions a week in the midst of my mountain training, because I still think turnover and foot speed is still really important. Like there's a race, Broken Arrow is a mountain race we do up in Tahoe every June. And I've had to throw down, like it's downhill, but I've thrown down a 4:15 minute mile to finish that race with a 200 or 300 foot drop. But like you still need that turnover. I've had sprint finishes with people and I've like went too early, and then one guy went and then I'd go and then he'd go and then I'd go, and then 100 meters to go I just got passed by him on the line. So like you need that speed, you need that pace. I think it's still pretty relevant for trail running and mountain running, especially as the sport progresses and gets more and more competitive and you get stronger and stronger athletes coming into the sport.
Yeah, it's like a good runner is, I see like Kipchoge and all these kind of lads, and they would have been the shorter distances first, they specialized there and then they moved up, but they can still drop a 4 minute mile if they really have had to and stuff. It's amazing. So, and just being able to train across those different distances, not focusing on one the whole time, that variety is so much fun.
Even in the midst of all of this, like trail running and longer stuff I'm doing, last year, was it last year? Last summer, was the summer before? It was the summer before. I PR'd in a 5K. I did my first 5K track race in like 20 years. This coming year, I think I want to do a mile race. I'd like to do a mile road or track race to see where I can get with that. I think my PR is like 4:20, but that was during a workout on a flat course. So I want to do that, and I also probably want to do a half marathon. I think this year I haven't done a half marathon road race in 7-8 years. I think Kaiser 2017 was my last one, so 7 years. So I think I'd like to do a road half this year to see where I am against the roadies again, especially as I'm getting closer to Masters, and that maybe there is some thoughts about going back to do Irish Masters cross country or road racing.
Yeah, the Kaiser half's coming up. I'm doing that, so it'd be cool to see you out there. And I think there's a new race called the Marin Mile in Marin.
Yeah, it was in June. I think the week before. I think it's the week before the Dipsy. So actually, that I would have done that this year, but I had to travel back to Ireland. I'll probably do that next year because it's like 8 days before the Dipsy, so it's a great primer.
Yeah, so that's just an example of how many races there is in the Bay Area. I think if you wanted to race every weekend, literally, you'd easily, or at least every 2 weeks. It's such a great area for running. So you mentioned just exploring, and I kind of associate exploring with North Face. So you're sponsored by North Face. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about what it's like to be sponsored by North Face and how that came about?
So actually, that came about through November Project, and from 2014 to 2017, I think, North Face actually sponsored November Project and helped them spread the organization across Europe or across the US and across the world, because they were really trying to value and elevate community fitness. And because I was leading the November Project group, I was one of the fastest people in the group, and I was having success in the trail running scene. That was my avenue into working with the North Face. So I started working with them in early 2017. And yeah, since then I've been working with them. They're supporting my racing all across the world. The thing I love about the North Face is, and about being on that athlete team, is the different types of sports that people are doing in that team. Every year we have a North Face gathering of all of the athletes from across the globe. We have runners, we have skiers, we have snowboarders, we have mountaineers, we have rock climbers, we have boulders, and all of us just like syncing together, spending a week together, and then just doing random sports. Like I went surfing with them, I went rock climbing with them, I went mountain biking with them. It's so fun to see people from all these different backgrounds who approach the mountains in different ways. It's really fun. And then like they'll come out and runs with us, and they're all amazed. They're like, "Oh, we're getting run with the pro trail runners," and I'm like, I just went rock climbing and like was pulled up, like belayed by like the best rock climber in the world. It's pretty fun. I love the balance and the different sports that they support.
Yeah, it's also interesting. I'd associate North Face with the brand with the outdoors and adventure, but not necessarily with running. So how does the running fit into the brand of the North Face?
Yeah, so they've been involved in running for 20 years. True, like Dean Carnassus was one of the first athletes with the North Face. So they've been involved in the sport. They used to sponsor and support the UTMB in its earliest years on Trail de Mont Blanc. So they've been around the sport a long time. However, they were never successful in footwear really till the late like 2018, 2019, 2020. They started actually focusing on footwear. They had shoes before then, but they were never really elevated in that. They got a new footwear team in 2019 into 2020. Started working with a new team that came across. They were originally with Solomon, and they built out and redesigned North Face's footwear strategy. And in 2021, North Face were the first trail running brand to release a carbon shoe. And now they've really like knocked the door down and broke into the actual footwear part of our sport, which is really cool. And now they're like a known entity in footwear. They always had the best apparel in running. Like I argue in like 2015 to 2020, the best apparel was like the best short, was the best t-shirts, the best jackets were North Face. But now it's really fun to see them break into footwear and actually be really impactful in footwear. It's been really fun to be part of that.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the footwear. Obviously, the other gear they have, I'd see that around all the time, but the footwear is definitely on the rise. Yeah.
Especially like you look at these big races like UTMB, you'll always have a couple of people on the podium in the top 10 who are wearing TNF footwear now, which is super cool.
Yeah, I have to try for myself.
Walking around the street here, you'll see people are at the group runs, like, oh, that person's wearing North Face footwear, North Face footwear, North Face footwear. A big thing locally that I think they've done is they've finally kind of started working with small retailers, and like any brand who gets involved in like run specialty retailers is going to do well, because I think a lot of people really appreciate the advice of these stores when they go, whether that be a Runner's Mind here, whether that be San Francisco Running Company, Renegade Running in the East Bay. Like people will go in there for advice on what footwear to get. And so they're brands that are like focusing and delivering to those small companies versus the Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever. I think they're really elevated in the running community when they do that, because they're actually really getting to the grassroots and talking with the people who are involved at the grassroots level of the sport.
So is North Face, the running shoes, are they primarily primarily for trail, road, a mix? What would you say? So let's say I'm going to try it.
Only trail. But now they're designing everything from kind of road hybrid shoes that are like road to trail shoes that you'd use here in San Francisco, to race shoes that like the Pro Vector is their carbon shoe now, that you wouldn't use on super technical trails, but on runnable trails and on for longer distances, and for fast races you would use that. So it's like basically their Vaporfly or their Nike road, or their carbon shoe for the fast, like impactful races like Western States, UTMB. But now they've also started to release more technical driven shoes, like ones that are better for sky races, that are like bigger lugs, more protection at the toe for impact off rocks, lighter shoes so you can run uphill quicker, and true to like pure adventure shoes that you're using for day-long slogs out in the mountains on tough terrain and on cliff sides and bogs and all of that. So they're starting to add more and more, so you have more shoes in your quiver that you can use regardless of the type of trail or mountain running you do.
Fascinating. I'll just have to try the shoes out for myself and get on a trail as well. Yeah, great. And another sponsorship you have is with Hydropack. So do you want to just tell us a little bit about that? I haven't heard much about
so Hydropack, they started with doing reservoirs for your hiking packs, for your running packs, or reservoirs for mountain bikes. And they do a lot of the soft flasks now that go into people's running packs or their running belts. So basically for carrying your hydration throughout sport. And they're actually a Bay Area brand. I've really liked working with Bay Area brands. North Face is born in San Francisco. They used to be based in Alameda. They moved to Colorado in 2019. Hydropack are an Oakland brand. Really enjoyed working with them because I also get to go over and meet them at their office and talk through different plans with them. So I've been working with them for the last 2 years. They do the soft flasks, so the flasks you carry in your vest for most other brands. Actually, they do North Faces, they do Solomons, they do all of these. They'll do the soft flasks for all these different brands, and they've really been pushing the game in terms of lightening making these soft flasks lighter, making them more usable, making them user friendly, easier to open, and better quality. And they also sponsor and support a lot of local and Californian events and races, and they're really pushing it forward in terms of recycling this material, more environmentally friendly as well. So it's a brand I've really enjoyed working with.
Very good. Yeah, I'll have to try that out myself as well, because hydration is so important.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot for road. They're releasing a lot of new things that are more applicable for road runners now. Like because when we're ultra running, we're out there for many, many hours. So we need larger, like I did a race in Mexico a few weeks ago that the minimum capacity of water you're meant to carry was 2 liters. So I was carrying 4 Hydropack flasks on my person. But for road racing, it's also becoming important as well. So they're about to release in January a running belt, 500ml flask that fits really neat and has a screw top that fits really neat in your belt. And I find it great for like going on a run in Golden Gate Park, because I think a lot of people, especially I think a lot of road runners and training runners, won't carry water with them, because they're used to, like in races, yeah, you're gonna have water every mile or two, but you need to, if you want to do it in a race, you should be practicing it in your training as well. Also, I think a lot of us dehydrate ourselves a lot more on training runs than we should, and then you should be practicing what you aim to do in your race during your training. You should be looking after your body during training by adequately hydrating, adequately taking on nutrition. Road runners should be practicing that stuff more. It's cool to see them putting a little bit of focus on prepping things that road runners can use as well.
Interesting. Yeah, that just leads me into, I'm guilty of not hydrating. I just did a run this morning and I was like, I just happened to stop, so I got some water. And actually that's another thing about Golden Gate Park, that there's water stations. It's literally like someone was like, however many years ago, was like, right, there's going to be a lot of runners in the city at some point. We got to design it with that in mind. We're actually so lucky. But
we're lucky here, but then in Marin, it's the complete opposite. In the Marin Headlands, there's a water station, the water tap at Rodeo Beach, but then there isn't another water tap again until Mount Tap. So hundreds of kilometers of trail and there's like one water tap. So we're lucky here, right across the bridge, not so lucky with that.
And they need it more because it's hotter out there in Marin. Yeah. So yeah, just any guidance, tips you can give on hydration, like let's say before a long run, kind of the most important run of the week. Is there anything that you've learned that you can just tell us about to help with the hydration?
So I've actually struggled with hydration and nutrition. I'll just say the term nutrition because that's both taking on your liquid, it's taking on your salts, it's taking on your carbs. I'd actually struggled with it in racing for several years. I'm kind of still learning about what's good for me. I feel over the years, actually, I realized that I was underhydrating in my races. I was taking too little salt in my races. And because I was underhydrating, taking too little liquid on board, taking too little salt on board, I was not able to adequately digest all of the carbs and calories that I was taking on board as gels or liquid. The last 6 months, I started working with precision hydration. So I worked with Sam, their sports scientist. We did a lot of testing to test my sweat rate. Right, I'm an intermediate sweater. I lose a gram of salt per liter of sweat was the calculation we found. Then I started measuring my fluid loss throughout a long run. So like over a 6-hour run, I realized that I was losing something like 1.2 liters of liquid an hour, whether that be through sweat, breath, urine, whatever. liter. And I realized that in races, I was only taking in half a liter an hour, and I'm losing like 1.2 liters an hour. So it was something that I realized through talking with them and through testing with them. I'm like, oh, I need to my salt levels and my liquid levels, and that may help me be able to take on the carbs that I've been trying to eat over the years. But I was encountering often when I got to hour 6 or 7, I just started getting GI distress. I started puking and not being able to take food on board. So the first time I tried that was this summer. So this summer I did a couple of 3 hours races, and I felt the most energetic throughout a 3 hour race in my life. And like in the last number of years, I felt the most energetic come the end of the race in those races that when I started to take a lot more salt, or started taking a lot more liquid, as well as the carbs I was taking on board. And through till November, I tested my first long ultra marathon. So I did this race down in Mexico in Puerto Vallarta by UTMB. So that was a 95k in very humid and very hot conditions. And I was taking on in for 1.2 liters of water an hour, a gram of salt an hour, and 100 grams of carbs an hour. And I had the best 100k race I've had in 5 or 6 years. I definitely still had some issues near the end of it. I'm still a learning experience, but it was a great first step in racing with my new strategy of adequately hydrating. I would do pre-hydration quite a bit before. When I wake up in the morning, I try to drink half a liter of water, and I've been trying to be really cognizant of tracking how much water I drink throughout the day. And the way I use that is I just track my pee color. You can recognize when you're super dehydrated and you're like, oh, I need to drink more water and maybe take a little bit more salt on board as well. I've tried to be better at that. When I used to, so I'm currently between jobs now, so I'm at home a lot more. When I used to work in a lab, we weren't able to drink water in the lab, and I might be only like at lunchtime I would drink water, and maybe at the end of the day I'd drink water. So I think I was much more dehydrated when I was there. So now I'd be trying to be much more cognizant of taking water on board throughout the day, aiming for that 4 or 5 liters of liquid. Yeah, predominantly I'm trying to take on fluid throughout a run and right after a run. I was doing a lot of sauna training this year, training for the Mexico race, and I was trying to recover like at least 100% of the water that I was measuring that I lost in the sauna, and take that on the next 2 hours after I finish.
Yeah, it's really refreshing to hear that even though you're like a pro, you're so experienced, so successful, you still struggle with the kind of the basic things, and you don't complete these things, but you're still learning.
I'd struggled for several years with figuring it out. I'd moved between different brands, and this is the first year where I felt forward momentum, where I finished 100k, and I'm like, okay, that went well. There was some mistakes, but this is we're moving in the right trajectory. So that was actually, I had always really as a scientist, always really separated my data heavy stuff. I kept that in work, and then running, I just did it on feel. I didn't follow as much in terms of with my nutrition. I didn't follow the numbers as much as I would in work, because this is my break from work. This is my break from numbers. And this is the first year I actually use numbers in my training, and like diligently in my training and in my racing for nutrition, and it worked. So yeah, maybe I regretted keeping the two silos of my life apart over the years.
Yeah, you got there in the end. It paid off with the 3rd place. So do you want to so I don't do a whole lot of trail running. Do you want to just tell me what am I missing out on, and also, how that 3rd place went? That was an amazing result.
So what you're missing out on trail running, it's remarkable where your 2 feet can bring you, right? Here, for example, here in the Bay Area, we have some of the best outdoor nature preserves and trail systems in the US. You go to the North Bay, you go to the East Bay, you go to the South Bay, even here in the city itself, there's so much green space that a lot of us don't even realize is there. When we drive through an area, we might look, oh, there's a hill, but you don't realize that all this trail network exists, where you can get out and you can run and you can see amazing wildlife, you see amazing trees and plants, you see amazing views. Every time I go on a run, I generally either see a coyote, I see a bobcat, I see a deer, I see all different birds. In my late 30s, I've actually got really into birding as well. I think I'm hitting the birding stage of my life. And the amount of times I see beautiful hawks out there, or if it's early in the morning or in the night, I see an owl or something like that. It's fascinating, but I don't know. I think it just removes you from the chaos and noise of city life, running in the trails. And you say you're not a trail runner, but you go into Golden Gate Park and you run. There's a series of network of trails in there, and I bet you run on those trails, and I bet you appreciate a little bit of that as well. But it's remarkable here in the city. We've such plethora of trails available to us. Like over in Mount Sutro, which is a mile further south of Golden Gate Park, we have an amazing little trail network through the eucalyptus trees up to Sutro Tower, and you can remove yourself. You're in the middle of one of the densest cities in the US, and one of the most metropolitan areas, and the most amazing metropolitan area in the US. You can be in the middle of that, and you can feel you're just completely removed from the city. You don't see the cityscape. You just hear birds, and you just hear the leaves and the trees blowing behind you. It's pretty cool that we can access that. 2 years ago, we made a short film, Urban Oasis, a love letter to San Francisco, that it was our dedication to and our highlighting of the urban trails trails of the city, and kind of in that short film, it's only 5 minutes long, but we were contrasting like the chaos of the urban landscape versus the serenity and the wildness of the trails. And when you look at that film, you're like, nah, that's got to be out in the wilderness or something. But like everything in that movie was shot in the 7 miles by 7 miles of San Francisco, and I think it's truly remarkable that the city that we have that. But it's not even just in the city. Like when you go east, you go north, you go south. There's so many, like this peninsula has so many good trails. The East Bay has so many good trails. We're very fortunate.
Yeah, we really are. And it's funny actually. Yeah, I run Land's End, for example, which is all trail really.
You're a trail runner.
Yeah, I guess I am. So I'll have to start.
That's my favorite
adopting
loop, because we live quite close to each other. Just running Land's End and then back up through the park. It's remarkable. Like in an 8 or 9 mile run, we can get it. It's like you can do like 6 or 7 miles of that can be on trail. Maybe I'm over exaggerating a bit, but like half of it is on trail. It's pretty cool.
And you can also get some serious elevation in very easily, which is I feel like it just makes you a better runner. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do a commute run when I used to live over in Chinatown. I used to work in Mission Bay. I'd do a 13-mile commute run where I'd run down towards Corona Heights, Buena Vista, Twin Peaks, Mount Davidson, Bernal, Pochero Hill, and like in a 13-mile run, I'd get 3,000 plus feet of climbing in the middle of a city. It's mad.
It is a great running city, and that is a Urban Oasis is a brilliant short film. I highly recommend it, and I'll attach it to the show links. And yeah, it just makes me think you've worked on a lot of like short films like that. Is that something that you incorporate into your running? Like you kind of have that kind of creative storytelling aspect to your running, or yeah, how did that come about?
With that, it was true friends I'd met through November Project. Ryan Scurra and Dylan Lads were two fellas. They were living in Boston at the time, but they were November Project members, and they were making a lot of short films for November Project to kind of promote it. One of them, Ryan, had moved to San Francisco, so he became a member of our November Project San Francisco group, and we just became close friends. And he came back from a wedding in Ireland, actually, and he was like, Paddy, because I had been really in my ascending trajectory of my running career at the time. He was like, we need to go make a film about it. He went and did some hikes in Southwest Ireland in Kerry and Cork. He was like, we need to go make a film about Ireland. So we started like think of ideas, and we came across the Wicklow Round, which is a route it's kind of not less a route, more of a concept. Is the round is you have to try do this list of peaks in a mountain range in less than 24 hours. And the Irish Mountain Running Association had set up the Wicklow Round, which is like 26 peaks in the Wicklow Mountains. You have to do it in less than a day, and ended up being 100 to 120 kilometers, depending the routes you took between the mountains. You could take whatever route you wanted. So we went back in 2019 and we made a film about me trying to go for the record of that, but also me using running as a way to rediscover Ireland in a different light, because I didn't trail run when I was there, and also to highlight the Irish mountain running community. And we had such fun making that, and like as a way of using running as a platform to explore, to develop communities, and also to look at an area in a different light. So we did that with Ireland. I knew Ireland as that's where I grew up, but I didn't know the mountains. And then this film helped me rediscover Ireland in a different way. Urban Oasis, it was the same with the city here. Like we all live in the city, but making that film helped us realize that it's a wild, wild place, and that there's a lot of nature and natural beauty in the middle of our city. So yeah, I feel because for me, running is a lot about community. The storytelling has really helped me elevate communities more. I love exploration, never stop exploring. Storytelling has really helped me kind of elevate and guide people towards using running as an outlet for exploring their city or their wilderness or a new city that they go visit. So the storytelling is something that I've really enjoyed developing. And also, we're both Irish. The gift of the gab. We love chatting, we love talking shite, and we love telling stories. It's something that's went back in Ireland, that storytelling has been a critical thing in Ireland for millennia. So it's something I've started to appreciate more and more and want to utilize more and more.
Exactly. Yeah, here we are doing a podcast. It's so natural. It's Urban Oasis is a great movie. What's the one you're referring to about the Wicklow Mountains? I watched it, but I can't remember the name.
Coming Home, like Choctawalla. So they're both on Vimeo, the website, and I think Coming Home is also on YouTube. If you look up Urban Oasis, Love Letters, San Francisco on Google, it'll pop up. For both of those films, we end up winning awards for it, which is really cool. And now we made one other film, a kind of companion piece to Coming Home. It was a poem by a fella called Dave Lorden from Wicklow about the Wicklow Mountains, the lost tribe of the Wicklow Mountains, but it was covered as a song by our famous Irish artist Christy Moore. And we reached out to Dave and Christy, and they let us use it, and we made a short film with that song, which was really enjoyable. So there are the 3 movies we've worked on up till now, and then now we're currently working on our next one. We actually launched a crowdfund campaign last week for a film on the historic and iconic trail running race in Marin County called the Dipsy. So we're working on a film. Shall we talk a little bit about the Dipsy now?
Please do, please do.
So the Dipsy is the oldest trail race in the US. 2025 will be the 114th year of it. Well, the only race that's older than it is the Boston Marathon, which I think is 125, 126 years. But it's the oldest trail race in the US, and it's a 12-kilometer, 7-mile route from Mill Valley to Stinson Beach, so across the side of Mount Tam, across two big hills. The unique thing about the Dipsy in that, and like we were talking earlier about how our training runs are normalized on ability, the Dipsy is unique that it's age and gender normalized in that the theoretically slowest people start first, the fastest people start at the end, and still the first person to the end wins. So you have at 8 a.m. the 80 and above men, 65 and above women, and the 8 and below children start. Then every minute for 25 minutes they let off a new batch until like the 25 to 30-year-old men 25 minutes later. So you have 1,500 people doing the race. It's all single track, covered in poison oak. There's some shortcuts you can take, and they start the slowest people first and the fastest people last. Just pure chaos and carnage, and it's just brilliant. However, this race and trail running in general, this race is great in that trail running in general is quite homogenous. A lot of people are white and wealthy with that, and like here in the Bay Area, it's one of the most diverse places in the US. People from all different backgrounds, from all different socioeconomic backgrounds as well. We kind of feel like races like the Dipsy provide maybe a great platform to make race events trail running more inclusive, more accessible because of the age normalization, especially for youth, to get youth from all different backgrounds into the sport. So what we're doing is we're making a short film where we're following 4 youth from 4 different corners of the Bay Area, from 4 different backgrounds, and following their path into the Dipsy race in 2025. So we've identified 3 of our 4 youth organizations who are get youth from different backgrounds into sport and kids involved in those programs. So we're working on identifying our 4th now, and we're going to follow them over the next 6 months into the June 2025 Dipsy race. So it does take a lot of time to make a film, so we are doing a crowdfunding effort and campaign to try get people to pledge funds to help support our film. We are using the platform Seed and Spark, which is a way that creators can crowdfund films and filmmakers crowdfund films. So we have a campaign we opened last week, and we're trying to raise funds to help kind of break even on that. So I can share the link with you as well. But go on, check out our little 3-minute teaser. It'll give you an idea about the film and kind of the exciting kids we're going to follow.
Amazing. Yeah. So yeah, I'll attach that, and if anyone's listening, feel free to donate. And when is the race?
The race is, I think it's June 8th. It's the second Sunday in June. It's either the 8th or 9th, 2025. It's a great one to watch. Anyone in the Bay Area, go out and watch it, because like there's a point called Cardiac Hill, which is about mile 4.5, and it's all downhill from there. But you go that's where most people go and park up and watch it. And you see like the 80-year-olds charging up the hill, and then the 8-year-olds charging after them, and then the elite men 20, 30 to 40 charging after them. And like the last couple of years, the last 15 years, it's had an 8-year-old girl who's won it, 60-year-old man has won it. This year, a 52-year-old woman won it. I won it the year before. The first time someone a male in their 30s won it in 30 or 40 years. It's had people of all these different ages, and like you see the finish line, you see the top 10 are like range from 16 years. When I won the year I won it, the youngest in the top 10 was a 16-year-old girl, and the oldest was like a 66-year-old woman, and it was all that range. It's so cool to see. It's one of the most unique sporting events.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll have to try and do it in June if I can.
It's one of the most competitive races to get into too. So it opens up in early March. You have to mail. It's very old school still. You have to mail your entries in, cash or check, and it opens up in early March. So you have to be in quick. So like people will often go to the PO box in Mill Valley, and they'll go try hand it in to get it in there quicker, because they have like, if it's like there's 750 spots opened up each year, because the top 750 from the previous year automatically requalify. And to get into those remaining 750 spots, they have like the first 300 that they pull out of the mailbox get in, and then they have a lottery later on. However, your lottery chance can be increased if you write an effective sob letter or if you bribe. And everyone's like, that's not increasing accessibility, bribing. However, the bribes go towards a scholarship fund for youth across Marin County, which is just pretty cool. So yeah, it's a challenging race to get into. It took me a few years before I got into it, but now I have to keep trying racing my way in now.
Right, I'll just edit that part out so no one else hears it, and I'll just use it. Brilliant, great story. And lastly, just tell me a little bit about like any strength training you do. You know, obviously I'm a trainer, so I love to lift the weights myself, but I find the more strength training I do sustainably as a part of my running, just the better I feel. Yeah, what is your experience with strength training, if any? And do you have any kind of advice for people?
I've definitely had an undulating experience with strength training over the years. When I led November Project. I was doing, because like as the November Project workouts, they were running heavy, but also body weight exercises heavy. We were running a lot of stairs, and then we get down and do burpees and do all different body weight exercises. I was bulletproof while I led that group. I was doing so much strength, so much like body weight strength training through to like 2019, till I stepped down from that group in 2018, 2019. After that, I stepped down from that, I started getting hurt, and I was like, oh, I wonder why I'm aging, but also I'm not doing the body weight strength training I was doing. So then 3 years ago, I started working with a PT and coach in the East Bay, Ainbui. So she's based out of Renegade Running, which is a store over on Lake Merritt. Started working with her because I was experiencing some injuries in 2021. Counteracted those injuries and was able to have great race seasons coming out from that. There's two reasons I want to do more strength training. One is to increase performance, but the critical one for me is I want to still be doing this sport in 20, 30, 40 years, say. I want to be doing the Dipsy as a 70-year-old. I want to be moving in the mountains as a 70-year-old. And I know and acknowledge doing strength training now is going to help me do that in the future. Am I as diligent as I should be with strength training? No. That was the thing that helped me when I was in the November Project, because everyone was keeping each other accountable. Because you would go to the workout and everyone would do it together. That's something that I could improve nowadays. I'm aiming to do like 2 strength sessions a week, like 45 minutes, and then also some mobility work. I have mobility issues in my family, and it's something that I am experiencing now as well. So I know and acknowledge and recognize that I need to be better at that. As I'm on this call now and I'm slouching over, I need to be better at working on the mobility, just my general body flexibility. I know and I acknowledge that it's something we all should be doing. A lot of runners don't believe in it, and that's wrong. We need to be doing strength training. We need to be doing mobility, especially if you want longevity in our sport, in a sport, longevity in general. I haven't read too much into the data, the literature around sports science, but all I hear is that like people who start strength training, if they're young, great, but in their 40s and 50s, even if you start strength training in your 50s, that can help you so much when you get into your 60s and 70s. It's never too late to start.
Absolutely, yeah, never too late to start. And yeah, like just my oldest clients, it's interesting. A lot of them already do strength training when they come to me, and they just want completely, if you want to age well, you have to strength train. And do you find that doing 2 sessions a week for 45 minutes, is that enough? Do you get enough out of that the injury risk is reduced?
Yeah, definitely. And also I don't think I could do any more than that, because with the amount of times you need to run, and like I'm running some weeks 10 hours, some weeks I'm doing 15, 16 plus hours, predominantly, and longer runs on the weekends, but I don't really have the time to do more than that. And I think I'm barely getting, like, that's achievable, especially when I had a full-time job. Now that I'm between work, I should be doing it more. Saying leading up to Mexico, I was doing a lot of heat training as well, so that's another thing to add in. But yeah, I think 2 45-minute sessions a week for me was the perfect thing that I could fit in. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment, so we don't have room for equipment or anything like that, but I was going to the YMCA over on 18th or 19th in Richmond, and it was just had everything I needed there for heat training or for strength.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's great to know that you don't really have to like go completely out of your way and do 5 sessions and it's very sustainable 45 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's also what do you enjoy? What does one enjoy? Ultimately, for sport, enjoying this is the most important thing. Like when I finish my running season, I didn't run for 3 weeks just there, and I enjoyed it so much. I know a lot of people who need to run. I'm like, good for them, they can keep running. But for me, my mind, my soul, my body always needs a cold turkey break from running. And I took that, and now I'm easing back into running now. But like, what do you enjoy during the week? Some people really enjoy the process of strength training. So yeah, get out there and do more if you can. Some people don't want to sacrifice running sessions. And like for me, I'm happy to sacrifice a running day if I can get a strength day in, because I know the benefits it's going to afford me years down the line, and currently now in terms of combating injury. Ultimately, you have to enjoy it as well. If you enjoy doing more strength training, do more of it. Don't feel obliged to go for a run. Like a strength training session may help you as much as a recovery run will.
Yeah, absolutely. And the enjoyment is an essential part of it.
Yeah.
Paddy, I know we're at time now, so do you have any final message you want to leave people with? Anything you want to tell people about that you have coming up?
The biggest message I want to leave people with is surround yourself with good people in our sport. I've been very fortunate to be part of the healthy and welcoming San Francisco running community, and that's connected me to great coaches I've had over the years. Matt Lay, who's now over in Idaho, and then my coach this last year, Mario Frioli. I've got connected to these very wise people in the sport, and it's connected me with my strength training coaches. It's my training partners, my community. I just get involved in the community. I think you get so much out of that. You get so much advice out of it. You get so much enjoyment out of it. You get so much positive interaction out of it. I think in this era where we're all moving online, I think we need more and more and more interacting with people in person. So that's why I think that's actually one we were talking about, running groups. That's a great thing that these running groups are doing. From people who want to find people to date, to people wanting to train with, to people wanting to just meet people outdoor. These running groups are serving a great purpose when I fear a lot of us are just moving online, and that's where the world is being driven by social media. Keep meeting people, keep joining groups, get involved in people in the outdoors, especially in a beautiful city like this. That's kind of the biggest message I always try to give people. And then things that come up for me next, given my improvement in my nutritional approach, I'm excited to do some more long races again this year. I only did one long one this year and then did a lot of shorter trail races. So I'm going to get back towards doing a couple more. I'm going to try and make the Irish team for the World Trail Championships next year, which will be 100k. But then also making this Dipsy film is something I'm really excited for. So keep an eye on that. People can actually go on, even if they are not unable to pledge money towards it, they can go on and they can subscribe for free to follow us for free, and then you can just get updates on the film. I encourage people to do that so they can track this great story as it develops.
Yeah, it is a great story. And yeah, thanks very much, Paddy. I'll attach all the show links, all the links you mentioned in the show links. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks for having me.